My next guest takes on Arnold Allen coming up here at UFC on ESPN Plus 5 on March 16th. It is Jordan Rinaldi back here on the program. Jordan, how are you?
Doing great. Just getting skinny right now. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Not everyone asks how I'm doing, so I like that. Good start to this interview. I appreciate it. And you've got a lot of momentum, man. What a win that was in your last fight, UFC 230 in New York. You get that unanimous decision over Jason Knight. I know you would have liked the finish, but you must have been pretty happy with how dominant that fight was.
Yeah, I mean, the finish was what I was looking for, and I should have had as much control as I had. But, you know, with the small gloves on, unless you're Damian Maia, apparently, it's pretty hard to finish those rear naked chokes. So I've been working on that a good bit now, and just different types of finishes from that position, because I tend to take the back pretty often. So I need to just clean up all the technique and get it better in that situation so I can strangle more people.
Was there anything about Jason that surprised you in that fight?
Not really. I mean, we knew he was going to be reckless, aggressive. His rubber guard, I honestly thought his rubber guard was going to be more effective. I was pretty nervous about that. But then after that first round, when we realized, hey, I can cut through that pretty easily, we were like, yeah, we'll just keep it on the ground. The biggest shock was that he actually was so aggressive still, even though I got the takedown so easy and was controlling him on top. He never really adjusted to it. So that was more of a surprise than anything.
Now, I know you probably don't follow this, but I do. But the betting line for that fight, I don't know if you saw it, you closed as a plus 210 underdog. At one point, you were actually as high as plus 275. Did you have anyone message you after the fight saying they won money on you? Because, again, that's some good odds right there.
I had a couple people message me about that, and I was like, you're welcome. I would like some of that money, but you're welcome.
Well, I tell all the fighters, I tell them they got, if someone says that, they should offer to take you out for dinner. I think that's the rule.
Exactly. I like steak. Go ahead and take me out.
Yeah, and not just something like, like not like an Applebee's. Like you should get like upgraded to like a Tony Roma's or something, like a good steak place. I think,
exactly. I completely agree.
Yeah. We should talk to the UFC about that. There should be like a rule or something. People win money on you then, because you lived up to your end of the bargain, right? So
exactly. So I guess they're putting their money at stake. So I mean, I guess it makes sense for them, but I'd still like to go out to dinner sometime. That'd be a nice steak dinner next time I win anyway.
Did you have any friends win money on you?
I did. One of the guys that trains with me down in Atlanta, he won some money. He saw me like a week after I fought, and he told me all about it. I was laughing a little bit.
Were you happy to get this matchup next? I think, Knight's probably more of a notable guy, but you're fighting a really good guy with a really good record.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good fighter, very good athlete. It's much different than Jason Knight. And though Jason Knight is a household name, if you really look at it, I'm trying to move towards the title, and obviously I'm far outside of that, but this is a move upward instead of laterally, So it's a big jump. I think he's a very talented young man, and we'll see how it works out. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him no matter how this fight plays out, but he's a tough fighter, good striking, pretty athletic and good on the ground. Wrestling was pretty good, so pretty excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup. And again, he comes from TriStar as well. That's one of the gyms he trains at. So, I mean, that always looks good on the resume, taking out a TriStar guy. Let's talk about your training camp, though. Last time we spoke, I know you did some cross training. Is that the same thing for this camp as well? I know you sometimes work with the Lima brothers.
Yeah, so my wife works in Atlanta, so when I'm not training for a fight, I'm in Atlanta. So I get to train with a bunch of good guys down there with the Limas, Jacau, Graves, a bunch of tough guys down there. And it's just a much bigger city than Charlotte is. So I do get to go down there and basically live all the time. And then when it's fight camp 6 weeks out, I come up to Charlotte where I have my strength and conditioning coach, my striking coach, and my jiu-jitsu coach who has been with me since the beginning. And so we have it really regimented here, and then I can bring in people as needed to make it more applicable to the fight.
I saw that Conor McGregor was training with Juan Carnero. I guess you didn't see him when he went there. I imagine the timing didn't work out?
No, I was already in Charlotte, which I would have loved to do that because, I mean, he is a 45er, but I feel like we're both big 45ers. He obviously probably isn't going to return to 45 again. However, I'm a massive 145, so I would have loved to see how I matched up with him and everything, and got to train with him. That would have been great, but maybe next time.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever make 45 again. He's a pretty like thick guy for for
Yeah.
145. But you're kind of the same way. You managed to make the weight, so everyone's different, I suppose. Back home in Charlotte, who are some of the guys you get to work with as far as training partners?
I mean, they're not noted people up here. I mean, Jeremy Purdue and Wayne Martin are my main training partners. They really help me out. And then I have some people, hopefully I'm going to be bringing them in over the next few weeks to prepare me, but I haven't really finalized any of those, so I can't really say their names, you know.
Well, either way, good to give those plugs to your teammates. I'm sure they appreciate it because they could be names of what we're going to hear in the next couple of years.
Exactly. I mean, Jeremy is a very good 185er, and then Wayne's basically, or he is retired. He's just an old man now.
Okay, that makes sense. The weight cut, you mentioned you cut a lot. As soon as you found out about this fight, I'm sure you were already getting down there. How's that going?
It's going good. I'm a little bit heavier than last fight at the start, but last fight I literally cut 0.4 of a pound a day at the weigh-ins. I mean, it was super easy. I started, I think, 5 pounds heavier than the last start, so it's not that big of a difference, but I have been much more strict on my cheat days. Usually a cheat day includes a whole DiGiorno or some sort of pizza and many other meals throughout the day. It's not a cheat meal, it's a cheat day. But I've really had to kind of limit those and still eat clean on Sundays. So it's going good, and I'm training hard. It hasn't affected my performance. So I'm excited, and the weight's coming off.
You have to cut more weight in the U.S. because you're going to be traveling to London. I know that sometimes when you're on the plane, you retain water a little bit easier. How are you sort of strategizing for that?
I'm not too worried about the flight and everything. I don't think it's that long of a flight. I've been on a longer flights than that. However, the big thing is the meals when we're there. So, one, I hear English food is not very good, but also that it's a different country. It's not where I'm from. It's not going to have the same grocery stores and everything. It is great that it's English, of course, but I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a Whole Foods or what kind of grocery store and what kind of accommodations we're going to have. So with that in mind, I tend to be very safe on the weight cut side. So I probably will try to get it down as close as possible before I leave, but still being able to maintain the high level of intensity during my training sessions.
Who's going to be making the trip down there with you to London?
So the 2 guys I mentioned before, Jeremy and Wayne, and my teammate Bart Russell, who's strictly jiu-jitsu guy, but he's been in my corner multiple times before, so it kind of worked out. My head coach, Snake, he actually is a bodyguard for Jimmy Buffett, so he's on tour a lot during the spring and summer. So he'll be in I don't know, California or somewhere during the fight. So it's really unfortunate that he can't make it out because I really like him being in my corner. He's a big guy, very confidence boosting, but it's all right.
That's a cool story. I like hearing that. What about like you actually arriving? Have you mapped out your travel yet? Like when you're going to get there and everything?
So I just spoke to them, or I just sent my email yesterday about travel dates and everything like that. But I think we're getting there Monday or Tuesday. And then I'm not too worried about the time change. That generally doesn't bother me. However, or especially since I think we're training or fighting there like local time. The main card is at 10 local time, so it's more in the middle of the day for us here because it's 5-hour difference. So if that is the case, it's almost perfect for me because I tend to train very early anyway. I don't like training at 10 o'clock at night, so it works out well for my schedule. So then when we do get there, I'll just stick with local time and it'll be basically my time anyway.
Yeah, we'll see how that all goes. How do you see this fight playing out? Arnold Allen's never been finished. Are you going to be the first one to do it?
Dun, dun, dun. Certainly going to try. I mean, that's the plan. Every fight, I need to go in there and finish, and I was a little frustrated with that last fight with Knight that I couldn't get the finish, but I feel good where I match up with Arnold. I think he's a tough and athletic man, but there are definitely places I feel like I can exploit him, and that's my job. And hopefully we'll get the finish, but if not, a win is a win, and that's the plan.
What are you going to be doing on the airplane? I know it's not a super long flight, but I personally like to get prepared. I'll get my own movies just in case the selection's not very good. I'll make sure I get some podcasts. What do you like doing? What's your ritual for the airplane? Aside from sleeping, we know that's going to try and happen, obviously.
A little bit of rest, but I try to stick with staying awake. If it's during the daytime, I'll try to stay awake, and then I'll probably watch movies and stuff. Netflix, you can save. I think you can save it for like a day or two, something like that, and Amazon Prime. So, I mean, I'll be set. My wife let me use the iPad, so she's going to let me take it over there. So I'm excited.
That's a good wife right there. And this is a great fight. It's coming up here on March 16th. It is UFC London, a.k.a. UFC on ESPN Plus 5. Jordan, it was great catching up with you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much for having me again. And Jordan Rinaldi, it's all the same on Facebook, Twitter. That's the only handle, Jordan Rinaldi. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Fit Fuel Charlotte, they've been taking care of my nutrition and meal prep for the last 2 fights. They're awesome, and I've made 145 pretty easily. And my Team Rock guys in Charlotte, Harrisburg Weightlifting Club, and I guess Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Just everybody around Charlotte, they know who they are, and also the Atlanta or American top team, Atlanta, Gwinnett, all those guys. I appreciate their help.